I'm going to make some corn chowder, vegetarian style, for the vegetarians. And if it wasn't vegetarian, just normal corn chowder, I would use chicken stock in place of the water. And I'm not using traditionally done regular white potato. I'm using a yam or a sweet potato in this. Even the onion, I'm using red onion. I'm looking for color. Now we'll go about, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to stand the corn up, cut all the kernels off, and then boil the cob. Now I started to cut the corn already. It's very simple. A nice sharp knife, and just cut straight down. And there's the corn off the cob. Now while the cob is cooking, I'm going to go to the next step and sweat up or saute all the vegetables except the peppers, because I like to add them towards the end so they stay green. I'm going to just sweat this up a little, get the flavor out. And the sweet potato I'll add when I add all of this to the stock. So we raise the flame. This will take a few minutes. I'm not going to season anything yet with salt and pepper because it's a soup. It's not like a large piece of meat that you have to season, like when you roast or broil something. The flavor, when the soup is done, you season it and it will all taste the same. So just sweat this up, have a high flame. This will take about 2-3 minutes. So if you get a little color there, it won't matter. It'll just add a little bit to the flavor. While I'm looking at this, I'm saying, what else could we use this for? You know what? You can make a pot of rice, and when this is cooked, mix this in with the rice. Have a lovely dinner. Or pasta. Boil up some pasta. Maybe add a little more garlic to this. Maybe a little fresh basil. And you have yourself a nice pasta dish with a nice mix of tasty vegetables. Well, after a few minutes, the vegetables are producing such a nice aroma in the kitchen. So then you know you're just about ready for the next step. Except we're still waiting for the cobs to finish. We have about another 8 minutes. So now this step is done. So now I'll cut up the sweet potato and be ready. Well, it's been a half hour. I'm going to remove the cobs, and just for the hell of it, I'm going to taste the liquid that's in there. Whatever it is, see if I got any corn flavor out of that, or was that a waste of time? Flavor, very light, but it was there. So now we'll add the vegetables. Remember, if this was regular chowder, I'd be using chicken stock, which already has a lovely flavor. And we're going to only enhance all of these ingredients. And then the next item we're going to put in there, let's raise the flame so we can start boiling, is the diced sweet potato. Well, let's take a guess how long the next step is. When will this finish? I would say after it boils, I'll set the timer for a half hour and see how we're doing. And then we'll go about seasoning it. Now that is nice and heavy. And if it reduces, well, before it reduces, we're going to add another half a quart of water. I also would be using heavy cream and butter in this if we're not vegetarian. So we'll wait until it boils, and then we'll check it in a half hour, and then we'll let it simmer after the boil. Well, it's been a half hour. Everything is ready. Now, to make it look like it's not a vegetarian dish, we're going to put a roux in there to thicken this up. So that's with the flour and the oil, and that'll give it a creamier, whiter look, which is more appetizing. Not that the clearness isn't fine, but you expect to see a corn chowder with a whiter shade of pale. That was a great song. So we'll use the whip gently. And then we'll add the salt and pepper. And maybe a little more thyme. And as you can see, what the flour is doing is it's giving it a little whiter color. Just more appealing. Plus, a thicker soup lingers on your tongue longer and holds the taste in your mouth, where anything thin just goes right down. So we'll simmer that for a few minutes. Boy, that was just the right amount of roux. Not bad. That was my dinner bell. I'll season it now. Well, this is about 2 quarts, and actually it's not bad for being a vegetarian dish. At least everything in here is nice and healthy. And you just put it in a soup plate. You want to top it off with a little fresh parsley. That's not bad at all. Almost forgot something. How about the green peppers? That really adds to the flavor. So we'll simmer that for 2 minutes, and that's it. You know, I need some of those green peppers in my bowl of soup. And if you're unlucky not to have picked some nice sweet corn, so you know what? At this point you can throw in 1 or 2 teaspoons of sugar.